Ladies and gentlemen, on the line, I have Big Blue Raggg. What up, man?
What's up, bro?
Oh, man. Thank you for joining the program, dude.
Oh, that's what's up, man. I appreciate being here.
Yeah. You definitely got some dope music that I got a chance to listen to over the last couple of days. So I want to get into that, but I definitely want to go all the way back, man, get to know you, and then talk a little bit of hip-hop as well. There's a lot going on, some crazy shit
Okay.
in this hip-hop world, man. But
Yeah.
let's take it all
Yeah.
the way back, man. Tell everybody where you grew up.
Okay, I grew up in Duarte, California, in the San Gabriel Valley, Los Angeles County. 20 minutes from downtown LA. Like everything else in Los Angeles County, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, for the people, who from different, out of town and out of state that, across, wherever, across the world that don't know. But it's the greater LA, but the city of Duarte is where I grew up.
Tell everybody what your upbringing was like, man.
It was, up until I got, I came to Duarte actually at 10 years old. Prior to that, I moved around a lot because my mother was in the Army. So, I started in St. Louis. I was born in St. Louis. I first came to LA when I was 5. I lived in South Central. I lived on St. Andrews, right off Slauson when I was 5 years old with family members. I stayed there for about a year. Then they sent me back to St. Louis. Then my mom went to the Army and she was stationed in San Antonio, Texas. We lived there for about a year or two, and then moved to Hawaii for a year, Honolulu, Hawaii. And then we came back to California. And that was at the age of 10. That's when I moved to Duarte. I went to from 6th grade all the way, to middle school and high school and all that right there in Duarte.
Okay. What was it like as a kid moving around so much? Did you enjoy it? Was it hard? I mean, were you able to,
I really didn't. Because it was I was already kind of, even like I was already, I guess, kind of awkward because I was kind of like advanced, like mentally. I was kind of I felt out of place because I was like a super smart kid.
Okay.
So with that, I don't know, so I always somebody ended up trying me somehow, and I ended up fighting a lot. And then moving around, you always a new kid, so you're gonna fight.
Yeah.
And then especially when I went at one time, when I lived in Texas for a short time, me and my sister went to an all-white school. We were literally the only black kids at the school. We fought every single day.
Mm.
But we didn't lose no fights, though. It was fun, actually, but that was crazy. We was like, what was you thinking? Like, asking our mom, you tripping, Mom? We got to get up out of here. She like, yeah, y'all right. We got up out of there. We moved out of there. Okay. Went to another school. But as far as moving around, it wasn't too easy to adjust. So I kind of like relate to every kid or anybody younger than me that I come across. However they come across me, however they, when they look at me, I always tell them about that. How I can relate to that. They never liked it as a kid, as far as moving a lot. But I found home when I went to Duarte. Like I fell in love. I was like, I don't know. It's almost like I can't even explain it. It was so crazy the way it felt when I moved there. Like the way I felt embraced immediately.
That's what's up. All right, so 9 years old, you moved to Duarte.
10.
Okay, 10. You start going to school there. What was your experience like? I know you said you felt embraced, you liked it.
Like my first day, like when I immediately learned about the gang culture in my first day in the 6th grade. I went to my elementary school, which was right across the street from where I lived, from the condominiums I lived in. It was apartments, though they call them condominiums, but whatever. I lived right across the street from the school. So anyway, my first day of school, moving in a Crip neighborhood. I didn't know anything about Crips and Bloods. I was, at the time, it was in the mid 80s. I was 1985, and so I had on all red. That's when the first Air Jordans came out, 85.
Ooh.
The first Jordan. I had the whole Jordan fit, all black and red, and they was like telling me like why I was wearing it, and like why you got that dead on. I didn't know what they was talking about. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't know. I was like super just ignorant to the gang culture at the time. But my brother had told me, my brother was a blood. you know what I mean, from LA, from the city, you know what I mean, from BNG. And so he had told me when we first, he like, man, you can't be one, because I used to break dance before we moved out here. I was really into break dancing. And I used to wear all those bandanas. He like, man, you can't be having that, y'all. And I didn't really understand. I was just a kid. He got all those colors out here, you know. And that's the '80s. It was really bad at the time. The gang thing. It was really serious. Like that. So I quickly adapted. But anyway, so I ended up running into a couple of my boys. We was like I said, we in the 6th grade. You know what I mean? So we 10, 11, 10 going on 11. My birthday was in the summer, so I was 10. You know what I mean? They probably was like 11 anyway. And they was like, that one thing that led to another. It led to me fighting them, both of them. I took off on them. You know what I mean? We started fighting. And they ended up becoming like my brothers, man. My best, you know what I mean? My best friend that's like my brothers. And they immediately like just put me up on everything. Like, yeah, this is that and this and that. We wear this color, we say this and this and that. Just started taking me around. I was just like, wow. Like it was just phenomenal to me. You know what I mean? As a 10-year-old kid, it was just like a shock. Like it was crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know what people be like when they come in as an adult or later on in the game. But me coming out here as a kid in the '80s, yeah, it was crazy. It felt different.
Yeah, '80s, '90s, crazy time.
Yeah, '80s. You know, that's my era. Like, you know, mid '80s to the '90s. That's it.
Yeah. What was Duarte like back in the '80s?
Back then, it was like predominantly black. You know what I mean?
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
Then, yeah, it was a whole different Duarte from the Duarte now. It's like a whole different. It don't even look the same. It don't look the same. Feel the same. Yeah, it was predominantly black. You know what I mean? It was black-owned businesses. It was real family-oriented. Wow. Everybody was either, if not related, everybody knew each other. Like everybody knew each other's grandmother. You know, from they grandmothers grew up. You know, everybody grandparents grew up in the South together, and like it was a place like that, a real family-oriented. You know what I mean? Like small town type of values, but like radical, like violence. You know what I mean? At the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know Duarte was mostly black at one point.
Yeah, and then being that we in the valley and everything else around us wasn't all the way like we got Pasadena, Duarte. It was Pasadena, Duarte, and Pomona. You know what I mean? That's where all the blacks was. Everything else was always blended.
Yeah.
Racially. How the valley is, but by us being in the valley, so and being how we were being in that area, so it was kind of crazy. There was a lot going on, man. A lot.
Okay.
A lot that a lot of people don't even expect. Everything that was going on in Compton and Watson was going on right there. Everything. Exactly.
Okay. So, all right, 10 years old, you meet your crew, you feel embraced. When did you decide to join ROC?
Yeah, immediately. It was just like a natural thing, instantly. It was like as soon as they took me around the older ones, the ones that started it, which was like, it was still fairly new at the time. They were young themselves now, but they were a lot older than me. The guys that started it and that was there from day one, you know what I mean? But when I went around them, the way they embraced me, initially I was intimidated by them, of course. They're very intimidating. But I liked it. I always liked it. That's I always like a natural born rebel. I always liked it, like bad shit. No matter what, I chose the negative stuff in my life. I actually chose. I made the negative things that happened to me. I'm the one that manifested. That's why I'm manifesting positive things now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
about.
Because
I chose the streets. I didn't have to. You know what I mean? I didn't have to do that. Like my mom wasn't on drugs or nothing. Like she worked hard. Like she took care of me. Like I was actually spoiled, and I was spoiled. I was super smart. Like I could have did anything, but I chose the streets and the gang life. So, like I said, the way I was embraced, and of course, like the same old story, like we always get lack of a father figure.
Yeah.
Or male role models in the house.
Yeah, you haven't mentioned Dad once, so I'm assuming Pops wasn't around.
Nah, he wasn't around since I was 3, and then my brother, he was like a father figure, being that my dad raised him, and my brother is 9 years older than me. But he had left to the Army about time when I started really getting into the streets. That's when he was already listening to the Army. Like I said, he was 9 years old. So I'm 10, he's 19. He's going in the Army. Because he was, like I said, he was a blood in South Central, and he was gangbanging everyone, his entire crew, his whole, like 20 people that he hung with every day that he grew up with, literally all got killed.
Damn.
So my mom convinced him to go to the army. Like, man, you gonna who you want? What are you doing? All your friends are dead, literally. Like, I mean, literally, bro. Every time I hear that little Uzi song, that all my friends are dead, I really think about my brother because that's literally him. So he went once he went to the army, and you know I'm stuck. It's just me now. So that's how I was turned to the streets. That's why I was like so infatuated with Do-Rock instantly.
Yeah. And mid '80s, Do-Rock was a fairly, like you mentioned, I think you mentioned earlier, they were a fairly young gang, new gang. Is that safe to say?
Yeah. They were all
Talking about like mid '70s, it was established. What does it say?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I'm coming around mid '80s, a decade later. Because all the guys that like started, they're a decade older. They're like 9, 10 years older, 8, 9, 10 years older.
You, I think we initially met over a CYA video that I posted on my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
yeah.
Exactly. I got it. I was just sitting here minding my business like always, and people sent me like one of my older homeboys. He actually a YA baby too. He older than me. Did it before me. He's actually like a big brother to me. You know, me and his family. I'm one of the families that embraced me out there in Duarte. But anyway, he sent it to me out of nowhere. I haven't heard from him in a minute. He always critiquing my music. He badly be critiquing my music, but he a big brother though. He's like, it's out of love. He be always critiquing my music on like Facebook and stuff like that. But I haven't heard from him. So anyway, he sent me the video. He was like, look, trip off this. I was just watching this and look what I seen. And so I was like, oh, okay. I was like, damn. And I was like, that's crazy. And then I was like, I didn't remember the dude at first that was talking. It took me a while to remember him. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember that dude. Yeah. But, so that's what made me go in there and comment because it was like I had to put my little, you know what I mean? Because there was a couple things that was left out. Yeah. And plus, I wasn't really familiar with who it was who was talking about me like that. So I was like, yeah, he's talking like he really know. He's not lying. He's saying all facts. But I'm like, who is this dude? It took me a while, but yeah. I remember that cat. Yeah.
Let's talk about your journey through the system. What was your first stint getting locked up? Was it juvie?
Y'all, yeah, man. It was 11. I was
11 years old. Take me back to that time, man.
I went in there. I mean, they in the first they tried to scare me, like put like a grown ass man in the cell with me. At the station, at the sheriff's station. And I went to juvenile hall and shit. And you know what I mean? I was like, it felt like I was in prison, man.
Which
like,
juvie hall was
everybody was way bigger than me. And back then, juvenile hall had weight, so it really looked like colors. It looked like that color scene when they beat up the one dude. What was his name? The blood dude.
High top.
High top, yeah. When they whooped on High Top.
That's your ass, High Top.
Roof, when he was hitting the weight, I swear it looked like that, bro. That's how I felt. I was like, as a kid, imagine being 11. I'm like, man, you know what I mean? So of course, you know what I mean. That's how I always been since a child. You know what I mean? Like, if anything startled me, like anything, I feel intimidated, I immediately attack it. I feel any type of like slight piece of it, like. You know what I mean? Like, you make me nervous, you intimidate me anytime, I'm gonna attack you. Because you're dangerous. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna attack. So that's how I was. You know what I mean? I attacked. I was little, I just started fighting everybody. I went to the box for the first time and I cried. All the kids came out of me. All that gangster shit was out. I was a kid again when I was alone in that box by myself. Locked up, not being looking out at the damn freeway and shit, at the 5 freeway right there, downtown.
What detention center was that? What center was that? Oh, East Lake. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, you know how to. Yeah, and yeah, man, and it was horrible. I was like, that's when I was like, oh, mommy, I was turning into a little baby again when I went to that box for the first time. But then I got that out the way, and then it was like I quickly became accustomed to it. I mean, it was just like man, this is what I'm doing. I'm fighting. I'm gonna let them know, like, because if not, it's like that's how it is. It's like, you know. You gotta. It's one way or another, predator or prey. You know, in there. So it was crazy. I mean, but to me, I was kind of crazy as a youngster. Like I was fearless. So it was like, it was fun to me. Shame to say. And then it was glamorized to me by the generation before me, which is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was glamorized. You know, jail, they glamorized jail. Like, it was just the coolest place on the earth back then, the older dudes. So it was a lot of, man, I was like, my generation was misled, man. We was all, man, it was crazy.
Damn. All right, so Juvie Hall, you spent some time in Juvie. How did you get to CYA?
Yeah, first I went to camp. I did a year in camp, juvenile camp, county camp. Then I got to CYA for some like I was just on the block. It was just on the Easter. We had went to Venice Beach, like real deep. We had drove to Venice Beach. Like, I literally counted up every car. It was 27 cars of us. You know, I mean, my homies and my homegirls. We was deep. We went to Venice Beach. We had fun there on the way. You know what I mean? We barbecued. We had fun. We had a fight, big ass fight at the beach. You know what I mean? Some of my homies went to jail, but then when we came back to Duarte, and we were just chilling on the block and everybody drinking, and there was a lot of fights. Everybody started fighting each other. One thing, like, just crazy ghetto street shit. Just everybody, you know what I mean? A lot of fights happening. Then ended with the night with like four of my homeboys ended up jacking some crackhead lady, come down there trying to get begging for crack. Some white lady, white crackhead lady. She was known around there. She never had no money. She was always coming around broke. Talking about, just, I'll pay you later. I'll do this and do this and that. And so anyway, they ended up just robbing her and taking her car, beating her up and robbing her and taking her car. Four of my homies. And I seen it with my eye. I'm just sitting there, like, me and my bro, we just looking like, damn, it was like, they tripping. Like, it was like in shock. I was like in shock. I'm 16. I was like, I'm drunk as hell. It's like 2 a.m. And they just beat her bad. She kept trying to get her car, like fight for her car. Like, no, like they fun. And so they just drove off and did, like, they bagged up when they was driving off. They bagged up and like get in. I'm my stupid ass, get in. I don't know why the hell I get in. I'm like, hey man, take me to the house real quick. I was finna go to Florida. My brother lived in Miami, Florida, and he had to send me a plane ticket. I was finna move out there for a while because I was already like on a run from the little probation shit from camp. I was a badass kid, man.
Damn. Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, that's how I went. I didn't do absolutely nothing. And, you know, they told me, they was like, man, who did this and this and that? We know you didn't do it and this and that. And I mean, you let us know and we'll, you know, the same old script. Like, we'll let you go right now. You know, I never was like that. I ain't say shit. So, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, yeah, right. So I was all the way silent. I'm like literally silent. Like, I wouldn't even talk. They thought I was deaf. And so, that's how I went to YA. You know what I mean? For that dumbass shit my homies did. And every time I went to board, because you got to go to board to get released, they like, oh, yeah, man, you and a bunch of your gang member friends jumped on an innocent lady and took her purse and her car. I'm like, wow. And I'm looking at them like, and everybody looking around the room looking at me, and it's a lot of women, and I'm looking like, really, like man, I didn't touch that lady, but I just didn't snitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that shit was crazy, man. It was like, yeah, GBI, carjacking, GBI robbery type shit.
Okay.
That I just witnessed and didn't tell. Just kept it solid. I did 3 years. I did 3 years because I was, you know, by going to jail for something you didn't do, that made me mad. That really made me turn the pressure up. When I went in there, I took it out on what I considered my enemies at the time.
So your first stop is in Norwalk, right?
Yeah.
SRCC?
Yes.
Okay. Active gang member, you know, you're heavy in the game. What is it like for you entering? Talk to me about your first day there, getting transferred. Did you go to Nellis?
Nah, I went to from Norwalk, I went to Preston.
Okay.
I went to Preston.
Okay. Well, talk to me about that time, man.
Yeah, it was just like, man, it was crazy. It was a whole lot of basically kids in a real prison, man, and it was just crazy, just man, it's just the craziest shit ever. The most violent, the most conniving, scamming. You just learn. It was just wow. It was a whole nother world, man. It was crazy. But with me, like I was, like I say, I was a fighter. I was always aggressive. I was always tough. So I was always the aggressor. It wasn't never like a problem as far as like I said, I attacked all the time. Every time, like I was a dude who was like, you would see like chasing dudes, people running from me and all that type of shit. Slapping them, spitting on them. I was a super bully. Like I was the bully. I was the one that like 90% of them were scared of me. whether they admit it or not.
Now, when you're there, when you first get there, are you trying to link up with other people from your specific neighborhood? Are you trying to link up with?
Yeah, we at that
Crips?
time back then. Yeah, see, in our era at that time, we all went to jail. Like we were all like, it got different once it came to the later '90s. Shit got different as far as game. Back then, in the like '80s and in the early '90s to mid '90s, we all started gang banging super young. You know what I mean? So, and we didn't have too many opportunities to pretty do too much of nothing else, and it was a different time. So they was taking our little asses to jail. We was active. You know what I mean? So with that being said, yeah, it was a lot of us in there at that time. But it was always way more PDL, though. Always.
Okay.
But we was deep at that time in there, so it was we was showing off for each other too. So we run into it, and plus we still putting our set on the map. We still running into people that haven't even heard of us yet. We still was dealing with that at the time. You know what I mean? Like, where that's at? Where y'all? And so we had a complex about that. So that had us extra turned up and tripping. Yeah, and we all pretty much know how to fight. We grew up fighting each other versus like, you know what I mean? And like more majority gang members in like the city and like South Central, Compton, Watts, like that's where it's a lot of different sets closer together. It's a lot of more. It's more shooting going on and less fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And shit like that. But with us, like we got a lot of space to where it's just us. So we ain't no other black gang in Duarte or Monrovia. It's just us. That's all Do-Rock territory. Any blacks that gang bang out there, they from Do-Rock. So who else we gonna fight? We ain't gonna shoot each other. We fight. So we fight each other. So we already knew how to fight, and all the homies knew martial arts and boxing and all type of shit. So they made us get in the gloves and lift weights, and I did all that shit way before I ever went to jail. I worked out and I fought. So we went in there brutalizing them dudes. Man, we was good. Yeah, that's what we were known for. The Do-Rocks, like in there, just beating it, just terrorizing.
Okay.
Yeah, but always being outnumbered though. Even though it was a lot of us, but everybody was deep back then. Like I said, the rival gangs. You know what I mean? Because I can't never, you know what I mean, with what you know, and everything I know now, and the level of, you know what I mean, intellect I have right now, I could never consider any one of them dudes my enemies, but the gang rivals of, you know what I mean, a Do-Rock. So,
what does the term YA baby mean to you?
That just means like basically like me, like that's the term that we all said. That all of us that went just call it that YA baby. All of us that went got YA number.
Okay.
Because the dudes on the street that didn't go to YA gave us their name, so they said we all got out like tripping, like all like tripping and politicking and like it changed us. Like that's what they say. Like everybody say like man, you changed. YA changed. Like
gotcha.
Like you man, like you political and everything is like you like more aggressive, you more like you be tripping and shit. Like you quick to fight like now, like that shit like that. So it changed us. I guess it was like some PTSD shit, you know.
Yeah. So you did 3 years, you said? What years were you there?
91, 92, 93, and 94.
Okay.
Got out in the 94.
That's when I think 93, 94 was when LA County was at the highest homicide rates in history. I mean, we think it's bad now. It's bad now, trust me. But back then, the murder rate was way
Oh
higher.
it was the murder capital at that time.
Yeah. 92, 93, 94. Okay, so you're in YA. What's the environment like? Give me a typical day of what's going on, who you linking up with, you know, some of the horrors, some of the crazy shit you saw.
In there?
Yeah, inside YA.
Oh man, it wasn't nothing but just a whole lot of shit. I can't even think like what's the craziest. It was just a whole lot of fights. It wasn't a whole lot of fights and like whenever it was a lot of like battery pack, like people putting like batteries and soap in the socks and shit like that. We could call that pack. Back then, that was packing out. Now packing out is when somebody get jumped, like come from the word rat pack. Like when you jump at somebody, like when more than one person jumping on one dude. Now that's packed out. But back then that was packed out like putting some soap in the sock or batteries or a lock, whatever you can get that was hard, rock, anything that was hard, you can get in a sock and tie a knot on that shit and attacking like, you know what I mean, whoever you had beef with when they wasn't expecting it. You know what I mean? And busting their head open. You know what I mean? That type of shit was going on. Like, dude might be asleep. You might be asleep 2 a.m. You just hear, and you look, you see somebody beating somebody with packing somebody out and they just bleeding. And he just, yeah. I'm going to say that probably was the most horrific, you know what I mean? That and the people that got booty bandits.
Damn.
It was YA booty bandits, man. It was dudes in there, man. It was sad, bro. It was dudes in there who never had sex with a woman and was booty bandits.
Yeah.
was taking boys, yeah. Young dudes. When we young. Teenagers, and you go up to 25, but it was teenagers doing it in there. There was dudes in there who went. Most of them dudes that was doing that, they went real young. Like, you know what I mean? You had a dude like robbed and killed the ice cream man when he was like 9 or 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A dude like that. You know, so it was like all them dudes I noticed they had murders when they was like 9, 10, 11, and then you finna do our juvenile life back then. You doing 7 years, so you know what I mean. They like start off when they like 9, 10, 11. You see them, and they like 18, but you can go till you 25, so they getting into all type of shit. And then, that type of shit was going on too.
Yeah, it's always been interesting, for lack of better words, to me that you had 25-year-olds locked up with 9 and 10-year-olds.
Ain't that something? Imagine that. California is crazy as hell, ain't they? 9, 10 years old with 25 years old, all locked up again in a fucking prison. Come on, man. That's inhumane. And but yeah, what I was just saying about that type of stuff, it wasn't like an open thing. That never been anywhere in California on any general population in jail in California anywhere. That type of stuff I was just talking about, the dudes getting raped and stuff. Any of that type of activity, any sexual type of shit, is not in the open though. Like it is in other states where how they show that shit on TV, like it's just on the yard and dudes. No, hell no, it ain't never happening in California. No type of, you know what I mean? Like open up, dudes doing that type of shit behind closed doors and they sell or something. That's something you will hear about. You never see it, you know. Mm. I ain't never seen literally like my eyes seen no shit like that. Like, but I just. Like, oh, this happened, or you know what I mean? Like I heard, like behind the door, I heard them behind the door. I never witnessed that shit. I never got the shit. I'm glad I didn't. You know.
Yeah.
But
the YA system.
Yeah. So let me clarify that when I said that was happening.
Yeah,
like,
you didn't
I didn't
see
want
it.
anybody to think that it was just like a wide open like type of where it was just like cool. Like no, hell no.
Yeah. YA system is a thing of the past now. Do you think that was the best idea to get rid of it?
It really ain't no difference because now they still pretty much doing the same thing because now they got ways to where they'll hold you till you get like a certain age, then they'll still send you to prison. They still have you locked up, and it's the same thing is going on. The same mentality is going on wherever they locked up at. So it don't matter whether it's actual California youth authorities, those, you know, it's still the same. It's still kids getting in trouble and getting locked up and going on their way to prison.
Yeah. You know
what I'm saying? They doing the same shit that we was doing. They still in there, you know what I mean, super violent, trying to kill each other. And, you know what I mean? They young, they got, they don't, you know what I mean? You still growing up, you a kid. You don't even know, you still trying to find yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But everything, being a gang member is in front of all that. Growing up and learning how to be a man is the last thing that's on your mind. Sad to say.
Trying to survive.
Yeah. So a lot of people get stagnated and get, you know what I mean, what they call arrested development.
Yeah. Where
you have dudes who go in prison 19 and he go do like 15 years and mentally he's still 19 when he get out. Like, you know, that's why, because they haven't had time to sit down and really, you know what I mean, or figure out their self. You know what I mean? Even if they got degrees. You got people that study, even if they had the time to be able to study and get a degree and be able to get, learn some certain type of skills that where they can have employment once they get out. But still mentally, like the whole mental health part, ain't nobody got time to, you know what I mean? Imagine like it's not already out in the world how men's mental health is just like super underrated.
Yeah.
But then in there where it's just the dog eat dog world where it's just always violent and turned up, where you always got to fight and watch your back and all that. You ain't got time to be worried about your mental health and how you gonna develop and be a man and be a shit and survive once you get back into society and be able to all that type of shit. You ain't thinking about that, so that's why people get stuck and they be like, damn man, he burnt out. That dude did all that time. He institutionalized. He this and he that. Yeah, because ain't no rehabilitation going on at all.
Positive or negative, what was the biggest lesson you learned during your time at YA?
Positive or negative, biggest lesson. What from being in there, the biggest?
Yeah, just when you came out, did it make you for the better, for the worse? I mean,
it made me understand people a little bit more. It made me be more social, and it made me open my eyes on different type of people. Yeah, so I would say that, and that's positive.
Yeah, definitely.
That's positive because I wasn't social whatsoever before. I didn't really, if it wasn't my circle or like my family, you really couldn't get a lot of conversation out of me prior to YA. So I went to YA and met people from all over, and different background, different. Your celly is another race in YA, so you get exposed to a whole different. You're in a cell with a white boy or Hispanic.
Yeah.
So that's a whole total different. You go from living with only black people in your family to now you waking up every day to an Hispanic dude or a white dude in a 2-man cell. Okay. So that right there is just a cultural shock right there.
Yeah. Learning each other's cultures. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and they just purposely do that. But I don't know if they doing it for positive, which I doubt. You know what I mean? And but I think that's positive, actually.
Yeah, definitely. That's
because,
definitely.
Yeah. And then like I said, you just learn social skills, you learn other people's background, other people's cultures, and you learn. And that's the first. I was raised with respect, so that ain't nothing. I've been respectful, until it's time to, my disrespect was physical. I never could argue much.
While you were locked up, you probably never been that close to blood, without some funk popping up.
No, that was the first time. When I first went to juvenile hall, that was the first time when I seen the blood. I remember when the dude from 30 Piru, he was like, "Where you from?" I was like, "ROC CRlP," and he was like, 30 Piru. As soon as I heard the Piru, I'm like, because at that time we all first started hearing about each other's hoods and shit. Because if we not close, because you know how big LA is, So if we not close in vicinity, like with the gang wise, we don't know about all those gangs till we go start going to jail. But you hear the blood, the Piru, the CRlP part, all right, that's a rival then. So I'm here, Piru. I'm ready to jump. We sitting down. We in the halls. We doing our halls. He's like, I'm getting ready to get up. But he like, ride. Like back then, that was like when we said ride, like that was like a respect thing. You know what I mean? That was like so he said that. I was like thrown off, and he reached to shake my hand. I was confused. That's the first time I was like, damn. He was the first blood I ever talked to. He was like, and he was cool. We was just chopping it up, and I was like, that's when I started learning, like, it ain't just all Crips and all Bloods, just like immediate hidden rivals. It was just gangs. It never was just how the world viewed it as like it was just red on blue. It never really was like that. Just all red on all blue. It actually never was like that. It was just always certain gangs against each other. And sometimes it's blue on blue, sometimes it's red on red, sometimes blue on red, but it's just no certain. Sometimes it's it's black on brown. But it's just the area of those gangs, you know what I mean? So that's when I realized that. We're like, all right, these dudes is cool. They blood, they cool with me, but they don't like them Crips, and I don't like those bloods. You know what I mean? That type shit. So it was like, yeah, that's when you learned that. So it was like, yeah, like, damn. A lot of Bloods I was super cool with too. Once I seen that, like that's most of the dudes I actually now think about it. Most of my like friends in there that I was close with, they was Bloods,
Hmm.
and they was like the like you know what I mean, they was like reputable from they said like I am from mine. Like they was like somebody. Their name held some weight. So that's why we hit it up. But come think about it, most of my partners in there, they was Bloods.
Well, I'm glad you're here to share your story, man. If I can keep you for about 20 more minutes, I'd love to talk some hip hop and talk about your
Yeah.
music.
I would too.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
okay,
that's
cool.
okay. That's my first love right
Perfect.
there.
Same here, man. When I was a kid, nothing else was around. I had my boombox and I had my tapes and I had my Power
Yes,
106 and my
sir.
92.3 The Beat and
Sir.
hip hop is my first love. So there's not too many things I love talking about more. Let's talk
Oh
about
yeah.
let's talk about a couple of stories in hip hop first before we talk
Okay.
about your music personally, because I would love
All
your
right.
take on some of the things going on in this crazy hip hop world right now. But
Oh yeah, I'm with it, man.
yeah,
I'm with it. It's my culture, man.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
always
And you being an older cat, and I say that respectfully, I definitely want to know
yeah.
your take on things. But
Oh yeah. I'm
nowadays,
OG. Been in the game 20 years in the game.
there it
Or hip
is.
hop. Me personally been doing music 20 years, but I've been hip hop all my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, OG game. Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
Well, unfortunately, lately, past few years, it's always happened, but we've had a lot of rappers just dying, man, getting shot,
Yeah.
robbed. It's really bad out there for rappers right now. The latest one, unfortunately, was PNB Rock, who was killed out here
Yeah.
in Los Angeles at a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Um,
Yeah.
Talk to me about why you think, or why you think rappers. Or let me ask you this way: how do you think rappers should move when they're moving from city to city, state to state, even in their own city? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Okay. It's really simple, but everybody being that it happens so much out here, and the reason being it happens so much out here because this is LA. This is the land of opportunity. It's the land of milk and honey where everybody want to come and chase their dreams. So of course it's going to be more in the media out here, anywhere, of course. So, but anyway, with that being said, also a lot of people seem to forget those guys have celebrity. You know what I mean? The rappers, the entertainers, the rappers, the sing, whoever, the famous guys you see. And so it looks, it gets so much media coverage because of that. But nobody is looking at the people that's happening to every day out here, the regular people that they don't hear about. So it's not everybody, and I want everybody who from anywhere outside of Los Angeles in the world, however they looking at it and feeling about us right now, to know that it ain't just because you from another state or anywhere. It's happening to we doing it to each other. This is LA. This is what goes on. This how it is. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Period. So it ain't just he's from out of town. I keep seeing a lot of these people. Y'all be going through these little blogs here and there, and I'm seeing a lot of people taking their little shots at us. You know what I mean? And saying that like we just targeting people from out of state or rappers from out of state. It's not about no rappers. It's not about nobody from everybody out here. Anybody can get it. It's the wild,
Anybody,
wild
and
west.
that's what
Period.
bothers me, homie, is that something needs to change when it happens to a rapper. But this shit happens every day. People are getting shot in the face
Period.
while eating at random Mexican spots, food spots, Alberto's. I mean, I'm talking specifically about a situation that happened not too far from where we grew up. But yeah, people are always getting shot. But it only makes the news when it's a rapper, unfortunately, or a celebrity.
Man. But it's an everyday thing. It's a regular. You know what I mean? It's what we have to deal with, man. And we don't. And then another thing that they don't realize that us being from out here, even me being a gang member, even though I'm an older gang member and I'm inactive. You know what I mean? I'm not. Obviously, I'm not actively gang banging no more at the age I am and how long I've been around and what I know. But I'm saying, even with me being with my background, most of us don't even agree with it and don't feel like that. It's like, but it's just, it's shit that happens. It's a lot of random, spontaneous, just madness that happens. You know what I mean? But as a whole, everybody don't agree like that's how it should be. Everybody don't feel like, oh yeah, this LA it should be like. For the most part, we know what I mean, we not cool with it, But it is what it is, and it's where we from.
What are your thoughts on checking in?
Well, see, and that it's very necessary, but I just think that's just those words, just that terminology, check in, those two words. I think it's perceived the wrong way, but the actual definition of what people are saying by it, it's necessary. But I guess for some reason, most rappers and dudes who, you know what I mean, like do in the streets, when they hear it, they feel like it makes you less of a man or less of a gangster or whatever they are. You know what I mean? But that's not what people are saying. So that's where the thing get misconstrued. Now, the actual meaning of it, I agree with it. But it's like how it sounds that those people are. But with all that being said, I noticed what I've been seeing with a lot of these dudes coming out here. They know because of their reputation about here and because of the Crips and Blood started out here. And Crips and Blood is like a worldwide phenomenon now. And like everything that happens out here and all the way back to the, you know what I mean, the Tupac and Biggie days and all the stuff that happens like out here, period. You know what I mean? And I think, man, like it's just like everybody try to like that's in rappers wise, because most of them dudes like have a like street background, so they try to put an extra little gangster on themselves when they come out here. Like they feel like they have something to prove. Like, well, I can go anywhere, and that's where you fucking up at, because not just out here in LA and anywhere, you can't just go anywhere. When you go into a city, a major city, you know what parts you should not go to. That's just common sense. Rich and famous still feel like that they need to prove to go. Oh, I'm gonna go to the hood. Man. I can go anywhere, to any hood, and that's what you know what I mean. That's just the ignorance of an individual. You know what I mean? And when it comes to that point, when it's like that, like, come on, that's anywhere you go. It's not just out there. You know, like, don't go over there. Like, why go? Like, come on.
Yeah.
And then especially go over there like dangling steak
in front of a bunch of lions. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, so that's like on purpose. Like, you really was antagonizing. And then I was seeing the videos and shit. PNB was the shit he was saying right before. I was like, damn, he was like really, you know what I mean? But so that was like an isolated situation though. But he made it kind of look like it was aimed toward the entire LA, you know. And then now his people and everybody else, I guess, I don't know. I don't want to perpetuate any of that, so I ain't gonna even get no further into that, because I don't want to perpetuate any black on black, any stupidity, you know.
You did 3 years for a crime that, you know, that someone else committed and you didn't talk. So let's fast forward to 2018, 2019, 2020, 2022, 2023. We have a guy like Tekashi 6ix9ine who you know, he, I guess for lack of better words, infiltrated a gang. I don't know if that's the case or not. I'm just saying he was brought into an organization in New York, and, you know, he saw some crimes, and when shit got, you know, real, he you know, decided to take the stand. I guess my question is, what are your thoughts on somebody like Tekashi 6ix9ine, and is it safe to say that since he's still running around getting billions of views that the G code is dead?
The G code ain't there because he ain't in the streets. You know what I mean? In the streets, he can't run around in the streets. Like, he can't go to, like, you know, it ain't like he can go pull up in his old hood or in certain hoods and just go chill and like it's good. So it ain't gonna never be dead, because there's still some people that's gonna take it to the grave. You know what I mean? Like myself, that's real serious about it. So, but as an entertainer, like, why? Like, it never really was one. It wasn't never really. It was rare that it was a few real street dudes can slip through the cracks in the industry anyway. It never was no real gangsters, like, really in the music industry anyway. It's always been entertainment. Somebody like me who really know, who've been living both. So I know. So being that it's just him, it ain't the G code is there. It's just he's an entertainer. He's an entertainer. You know, there's been plenty of them. He just one that happened to just do it just on a mass scale like that. Just happened to just, you know, become an informant like that, real big like that. He basically like the Sammy the Bull of hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For it to be so big like that and to be just but I don't think any era. I don't think, even if it was the 90s, even if it was the Tupac and Biggie era, and somebody would have, I think he still would be selling records and running around too back then in the 90s. That's what I'm saying. So it ain't because of the streets. It's always the streets, and entertainment was always ain't too many people looking to go. You know what I mean? Just, you know what I mean? And, you know, you got these little weird little kids now, the cloud chaser, but ain't too many average people in the streets looking to go try to look for no famous person to do nothing to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's gonna have like a million security around them, and ain't no too many people ready to just throw their life away like that for some of a total stranger for most part, because he never gonna come back around again to any other guys that he told on. So, but that's the only one people that's mad at him. Actually, I don't know what everybody else. They just use it. He's just like a metaphor now. He's the poster child, like I say, this new Sammy the Bull. So that's why he's a hot topic, because he's just 6'9", so easy to say. All like 6'9", 6'9", and a million rappers rapped about him. Yeah, but that's just entertainment, man. It's just entertainment.
Man. Well, let's talk about music, dude. What's going on with you? I see you dropping a lot of music just in the past, short period of time, man. What's next up for you?
Videos, man. A lot of videos, and then man, I've been grooming my artists and shit, man. So I'm finna be
give them a shout out.
My artist, Tiny Raggg. We call him Tiny Raggg. We know him as Tiny Raggg. He go by 3 High. That's, so Tiny Raggg, aka 3 High. And we got G Rag, G Blue, which is short for Gangsta Blue Rag. And then I got a female artist. Now, because it's Rag Found. That's my squad. RAGGG.
Okay.
FOUND, and it's the acronym. It's resurrected as God's greatest gift. Focus on uniting niggas daily. You know what I mean? And so that's what the whole rag, just clearly in honor of me, the blue, the rag, the whole paisley bandana thing. That's the whole bandana rag theme that we come with. So that's why everybody names, like, I got like female artist C Rag, a female artist Jezebel.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And they all dropping hot shit too right now. I'm working, you know what I mean? And I got a few other ones in the cut that that I'm about to pull out too. But that's my team right there, Rag Found, and I'm bringing them. I'm bringing a team with me, and I'm pushing them harder. You know what I mean? Pushing my youngest, man.
Yeah, and you as an older cat, what are you doing to groom them and to I guess help them maneuver?
Oh
in this
yeah,
crazy
man.
Industry.
One, the first, the initial part of that is make sure their confidence is there. You know what I mean? To boost their confidence, and then after that's the first thing. Boost their confidence, get them comfortable. You know what I mean? Because we're like it's a family. You know what I mean? It's family for one. So the comfortability. You know what I mean? We just kick it outside of that anyway. Outside of the studio, we do. You know what I mean? We on some family shit. 3 of my artists are our siblings and shit like that. You know what I mean? And we all go back 15, 20 years and shit like that. So So, but anyway, they got to be comfortable, man. And then, I just show them my work ethic. That's why I work so hard and show them, look how hard I push. You know what I mean? You got a great example right in front of you. You know what I mean? To see, the work ethic, and show them all my little twists I know in the studio and shit. Shit that can help them. You know what I mean? Help them pick beats. Which beats to pick and shit like that, which beats they go through, what type of song, what type of shit, to say, what type of, when to emphasize certain other parts, when to get a little bit more aggressive, when to get smoother, vocal range, don't grab the mic, shit like that, you're going to get feedback, you should probably be better if you take one of your headphones off so you can get a more level on your vocals, and just the whole shit, the whole executive, because people, a lot of people in hip hop think only in hip hop, you notice I said not music, but a lot of people in hip hop think the word producer just mean making beats. Producer is all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I write, I ghostwrite sometimes, some of them, you know what I mean? Sometimes I might write like 4 bars for them or something to help. Sometimes I might write them a whole verse, a whole whatever. I do that. So all that production, man. Yeah, so it be shit like that, man. Just and I be in there showing that hobby. Me, you know what I mean? Me and 3 High, you know what I mean? Me and Tiny Rag, we we've been working together personally for about 15 years. You know what I mean? For about about 13 years, something like that. But so we have a hell of a chemistry. We got an album we working on right now currently too. Me and him. So that's you know how we do the gang thing with the names. You know what I mean? I'm Big Blue Rag. You got Little Baby Tiny. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
You know how our name thing is out here. You from out here, but yeah, like I say, as an artist though, his name is 3 High though. His rap name 3 High. You know what I mean? So 3 High, yeah, we got me and him got an album coming out together. Me and him, we got a certain type of chemistry, and so that's another way I groom the other artists that's newer coming into the fold. To where like just sometimes just sit in and watch us like on some mentorship type shit, on some what do they call that intern.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, interns there. Yeah, you know, sometimes it's like that. Just come sit in, man. Sit in our sessions and see, you know, and see us work this magic.
Soak up that game.
And that's what get them motivated. And they be like, oh, yeah, let me get on something, man. Let me get on this one. Like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Come on. Let it be organic. You know what I mean? Let it just come organically.
Love it, homie. Definitely got to shoot me those links whenever you drop some new music, and I'm going to promote it on my show. I love to play good music, most definitely, man. I like to end it.
The love, man.
Yeah, most def, man. I fuck with your music. Definitely what I've heard the last couple days. Frequency is probably my favorite song, which I played earlier. I like the message in that.
Yeah, yeah. You when it came on, I was like, you threw me off with that one. I was like, ooh, he picked a good one. That's one of my personal favorites.
That's the one that got me.
Favorite is not what mostly everybody else likes.
That's the one that got me.
We came with frequency.
I love it, homie. That's that frequency right there, baby. That's dope.
Yeah.
But hey, I like to end it. One more question for you before I let you go. I like to end it on a positive note. I also like to ask a lot of my guests, especially when they have a mindset like you have, a hypothetical question. If you could talk to a 10-year-old you, a 10-year-old Blue Rag, what would you tell him?
Don't join the gang.
Eric, talk to me, dog. Keep it going, please.
Don't join the gang. No matter what you do, don't ever join the gang. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't bite it. Don't bite. It looks glamorous, but don't go. You know what I mean? Don't go for it, because it ain't never what you think it is. It's never at the end of the day. There's nothing positive gonna come out of it. Nothing. You're just gonna ruin your whole life. Never join the gang. Yep.
Thank you. That is the legit message of my show, period. So you just wrapped it up in a nice bow, man. I really appreciate you, dog, and I just want to let you know the door's open. You know, you're Dusty Vision family now, so the door's open. If you want to ever invite any of your guests on my show, you have my direct connection. Shoot me a text, and we'll set up a date. It's as easy as that.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, so I will be doing that. I will be doing. I appreciate the love, and like I said, I'm at the point, man, where you know what I mean. As far as everything I did in the streets is like 100% behind me, and I'm in a good place, man. And I'm free from all that, you know what I mean, from incarceration and from being in the streets and participating in any illegal activity. This is like the real first point in my life where I'm at that. So it's a good transition for me. And I'm saying all that to say this music is my only bread and meat. I don't have no 9 to 5. I do this 100%. I'm not just one of these dudes who's out here just making videos, putting them on YouTube or whatever, just doing this on. I'm not no SoundCloud type of. I'm really an artist. I really do this, and this is how I eat. This is how I survive. This is my only job, my only occupation, my only financial resource. This music that I'm currently making, everything that I'm bringing to the soul. So that's why I'm going so hard for one. And then, like I said, hip hop is my first love. So I just wanted to put that out there. So that's with that being said, that's why I say I appreciate all the love that, you know, any promotion, anything you doing, you know what I mean, for me.
For sure. After this conversation, you have my 100% support. I love the message. Keep it going, and I'll definitely be in touch, all right?
Appreciate you, man.
Peace, man. Talk to you soon.
One.